News Radio 840 WHAS. Coming up on today's show, listeners' questions about the headaches coming for anyone who owns rental property in Louisville. Also, should you have your home retested for radon if you've been living there a couple of years or more? Plus, the new Jefferson County property tax assessments are coming out. Is there a way to fight them? And must-do chores to keep your home sparkling clean. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Sokoler, Sokoler Team, RE/MAX Properties East, and this is the Louisville Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great show with a lot of interesting questions, as you heard, and more. Also, we need to tell everybody Happy Mother's Day this Sunday here in May. I hope all of your moms have a great day, and if you're a mom, thank you for being a mom. Joining us for this show, we've got Brad Lawler. He is the owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They'll come in like a team, and they will inspect your home. They do a great job. They'll be doing my new home that I am in the process of. She's a real plus to our industry. You can reach Lee, and for other real estate agents, yes, you can call her as well on her cell phone, 649-7964. They do a great job also of closing over at Limestone. And don't forget to ask for the cookies. A reminder, if you're thinking of selling your home, I would love to come out and give you a free estimate, no obligation, talk about what the process is, how you actually go ahead and sell the home, what we do to get it sold, and then what the value is. That's probably the most important thing, and we can do that live on the computer. You can reach me at 376-5483 or go to WeSellLouisville.com. All right, so let's start with the big question that's coming up. I got a call. This is coming from one of my listeners, Otis, who owns several rental properties. He called me and said, whoa, what is going on? June 1st is the registration date. And what does that mean? Because you're going to have to register if you own a rental property. Hopefully, if you're a rental property owner, you already know about this. If not, this is coming as a big shock, and it leads to other problems. Brad, Lee, which one of you want to start this off? Brad, I know you did a lot of research on this.
Well, yeah, and I think there's a part of the question that was asked that you shared with me about the lead safe.
Yeah, that's
rental.
Secondary. That's the second part of this.
Okay.
The rental. So maybe Lee, you jump in on this. It's June 1st. If you own a rental home, you have in Louisville, Jefferson County, right?
Yes. By June 1st, you have to register. If you're already registered, you can establish a new account. And there's a whole process online to register. If you don't, you could be fined some pretty serious fines. And basically what this registry is going to do is have a list for Louisville Metro, Jefferson County, to know all of the rental properties that are out there, to be able to contact the landlords, to have better contact allegedly for how to get in touch with them if there are code violations. They have hired more code enforcement personnel, and they're going to send those people out to at least 10% of those rental properties annually to check to make sure that they're following all the codes. If you are a landlord, I'd suggest logging on to LouisvilleMetro.org and clicking on that codes and regulations section and seeing what is required. For example, one of the things is you have to have your fireplaces up and working. And so I know that's causing a lot of landlords a lot of stress. So anyway, it's best to know, what's out there so you don't get caught on an inspection and have to pay not only a fine, but also to have it repaired.
Because this will allow them to go in and inspect rental properties at random, but without the permission of the owner of the home. All right, so that was the first part of Otis's question, and got that. But then he brought up the issue that you also have to register on the base paint registry, which could lead to forced abatement. Brad's been looking into that. Let's talk about what's going on.
Yeah, so back in December of 22, Metro Council, Chapter 167 is the section where this is listed. It's called the Lead Hazard Reduction Program for Rental Housing Units. And according to that, it looked as if there was supposed to be a lead safe housing registration that was set up. Now, I haven't found any evidence of that registration yet. It's the homes built before 1940 were supposed to be on that registration prior to the end of December of last year. Again, it seems to be a little bit murky as to where the registry is, and I don't know if they're going to incorporate it into this rental registry, but there's nothing in there about lead safe right now. The question that comes up is, the certification process that's involved, and they're very specific about how all of these homes are to be tested. And it's going to be, I talked to several landlords, when the question was posed to us about it, they weren't aware of it. And when I walked through what the rules were that have been established, they were a little bit shocked by the extensive exhaustive inspections that are going to have to be performed on these homes.
Yeah, even if you don't own a rental property, folks, you may know somebody who does. You may want to make a call after the show and say, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And then the lead-based component.
Yeah.
And I heard, Brett, it was 1978 or earlier that they had to register,
right? But they're phasing in depending on how old the homes were. So I think the homes built before 1940 had to go the end of last year. Homes built through, I don't know, I think the early 60s, it was through the end of this year. Then homes built 63 to 78 were having to be registered by the end of next year. The question is, though, is how do you get these certified? Because the lead safe housing requires an evaluation that is not performed by too many people in this area. I know years ago I went through the lead assessment training programs, and there was an industrial hygienist that came in, and he wanted to give me the equipment to actually do the test, because there's a machine called an XRF that you have to use. It's quite a few $1,000s to buy one. It has a radioactive source that is put into it. That's several $1,000s. It has to be used refreshed every few years. It has to be registered with the Department of Energy because you're carrying a radioactive source with you. So it's not a tool that a home inspector or any inspector is going to go buy at your local hardware store. It requires extensive training, and the costs associated with each one of those tests, because of the amount of time that it takes, and it's several hours even for the smallest home, to document every paint surface. You have to document the color, the condition, whether where the paint is, and then what the findings were with your XRF. They also require lab testing of the paint dust around like windowsills and underneath windows. That all has to be sent off to a lab. And the way the rules were written shows that these homes have to be recertified every 2 years. So I think there's a lot of questions, but my office has been peppered with questions as well. I understand there's a local news channel who put this story out, which is creating some of the attention. But I really, at this point, I don't even know, beyond the few industrial hygienists that I work with, who can even do these evaluations.
The research I did also included the fact that a state-certified lead inspector will test a property for lead paint. As part of the registration process, properties must be re-registered every 3 years. And this begs the question, if they're doing this for rental properties, do they then go towards home sellers who own homes that they're living in, and before selling a home, much like in many areas like Jefferson County, you have to have smoke detectors that are 10-year non-lithium battery replaceable or wired. So do they then transfer this to older homes throughout Jefferson County? This is a can of worms that has been opened, and it's not going to end anytime soon. Am I right, ladies and gents? Yes?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we'll continue to track this. A reminder, if we caught your attention with what we're talking about and you said, whoa, I missed something, though, we've got some good news for you. Go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. Again, that's LouisvilleAnswers.com. That is a redirect to our YouTube channel where this show will reside, video and the show itself. So that's a good thing to know, LouisvilleAnswers.com. Let's go back over to Lee Harris over at Limestone. Amy, and staying on this rental issue, one more question. And Lee, this shocked me. Amy wrote in, her and her husband own a number of rental properties around the Louisville area, and recently, get a load of this, she was fined for a car which was owned by a renter in one of her properties that was parked on the driveway because the car parked in the driveway had expired plates. So Amy got fined. She's wondering, and she says that's just the beginning of some of these problems that she's now facing with rental properties.
Yes. So the most common outdoor complaints or things that people get fined for, one is cars that are on the property that are unregistered or parked in the yard or are an eyesore. And then, of course, there's gutters that are loose or not working, and yards that are too high. Those are the common types of things. It seems really unfair, and I know where Amy's coming from, that it's not her car, and therefore she really can't even register the car. So how's she going to get fined for that? But there is an appeal process, and I will say they're pretty friendly in the appeal process. So if you feel like your fine is not fair, go ahead and file that appeal. You can appear on Zoom, or you can appear in person and appeal it and explain the situation. It's not my car, and I really have no ability to change this. So could my fine be waived? And then I guess notify the tenant, look, you can't have this car parked on, which it seems odd you can't have one parked in your driveway that's not registered. I know you can't have one parked on the street that isn't registered. Very unfair.
One of the problems, because of the lead-based paint registration and registrations for rental homes, and now the enforcement of these rules, we may see, buyers, listen carefully, we may see more homes coming on the market from people who own rental homes who are just saying, I want to get out of this. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. So they either wait for the lease to be up, or they sell in mind that the lease is coming up and terminated, because obviously if you have a lease with a tenant, you can't just sell and then terminate the lease, right? Lee, I'm on this? Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. It will be subject to the lease.
Yep. All right, we move on. A reminder, one of the things we are very strong about is getting reviews, recommendations before you hire a contractor. Could be anybody. You want to make sure the reviews, it's like a friend, reviews are good, and we're very proud of our reviews. If you'd like to read some of the reviews that we have, head to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com, and we've got the reviews that are there on those individual websites. Back over to Brad Lawler with Home Team Inspection. In this email, Anthony says he's planning on selling his home and is having some work done around the house, or he had some work done around the house. Apparently, Brad, a contractor had a leaky oil pan, left oil stains on the concrete, all over the concrete. He's wondering, will that decrease the value of his home, and is there any way to remove all the oil stains? I would tell you from a realtor standpoint on the first part of that question. So, Anthony, if it is noticeable, the buyer's going to take into account of having to remove that and doesn't want an eyesore with oil stains. So I would tell you, you better contact that contractor and say, hey, you did this, you got to make it good. Brad, following up, is there a way to remove oil stains from the driveway?
I would definitely start with kitty litter. Get your clay-based kitty litter, put it down on the oil spot, kind of grind it in with your foot a little bit, let it sit. Don't let it get wet. Don't put it out when it's raining. You don't want that to happen. But just allow it some time to absorb those granules. That clay will pull a lot of that oil out. And once you get to that point, then you can probably clean it with just an all-purpose kind of driveway cleaner with a degreaser in it. That should get most of it out. But I'm with you, Bob. I think the contractor whose vehicles dropped it there, I would start there. But yeah, I think you can do it even with kitty litter and some degreaser.
Oh, I hope that works, because I know that's a tough one, and you better let that contractor make good on that. Incidentally, if you're thinking about selling your home, we have a free, no obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. If you want a copy, simply send an email to me, Bob at WeSellLouisville.com, and put selling tips in the subject line. We go back over to Lee Harris at Limestone Title. Oh boy, this one is a hotbed of problems. David writes in, new assessments, Jefferson County. David wants to appeal on his family home, which is in bad shape. He says he's been assessed at the value for the home throughout the neighborhood, but his family home is in bad shape. He's wondering if a professional appraisal would help. I'll tell you what I told David when he called me on this one. This was actually a call. Lee, what are your thoughts?
Yes, you can appeal that. I'm getting a lot. Believe me, a lot of them went up quite a lot in the last couple of weeks. I've got a ton of calls about this from different people asking me this question. There is, in the first 13 days, well, up until May 20th, so very soon, you need to get on this, you can appeal anytime that there's this open period for 13 days, from the first Monday of May for 13 more days. And that also includes Saturdays. So you can contact the Jefferson County PVA and find out what that you need to do to appeal your assessment. They will probably require, if it is something where you're saying mine is not the same value as the others, a professional appraisal is probably going to be required. But there is an appeal process. I don't know how successful people are going to be in that. If it was a computer assessment versus a visual one, you might have some evidence there. Mm-hmm. If you can show that your house is in much more disrepair than a comparable one across the street, they shouldn't have the same assessment, or yours shouldn't even be, of course, be higher. So yes, this is a hot topic right now, but make sure if you want to do anything, your deadline is May 20th.
Yeah, and that's a problem because appraisers are backed up as it is. So hiring an appraiser to do an appraisal could be costly and maybe not get it in time. What I told David to do was to take pictures of his house, the condition. If he's going to appeal, submit those pictures as proof that his is subpar to the other homes in the neighborhood. And if you want, we can do it. We can run a quick, it's a free, no obligation rundown of pricing for your home. That if you're going to fight this with the county PVA, give me a call at 376-5483, and I will put together some information for you that you might be able to use. Again, there's nothing like an appraisal, but this is the second best thing to it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to help you revolutionize your cleaning routine with some must-do cleaning tips, some of which come from my fiancé, who I'm very impressed with. Continuing with us after the break, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out, 844-411-TEAM. Also, Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow at 649-7964. Limestone does a great job of getting your home closed. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the near future, I would love to come out, help you, talk to you about what the process is. It's free, no obligation. Give me a call on my cell phone, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show. We're continuing till the top of the hour. Thank you very much, Barbara Corcoran, mentor, friend, and who endorses us, and that's why you heard the commercial endorsing Greg and myself. And we'd love to be able to help you come out as a talk about the listing process, free, no obligation. We'll give you what the pricing of your home is like and what the options are, what you can do to get the home on the market and sold under your time frame and for your money. You can reach me at 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Also continuing with us, Lee Harris. She's legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow, LLC. And Lee's a great resource for all of us here in Louisville. You can reach her on her cell phone, 649-7964. And Limestone does a great job on getting your loan closed. And also continuing with us, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They do a great job of inspecting your home. You can reach Brad and his team at 844-411-TEAM. All right, so you may have heard I'm engaged, getting married in July. I'm very impressed with the cleaning of my fiancée, what she does with her condo. It's unbelievable. It's a daily and weekly routine. So here's some of the things you want to do about getting your home clean. These I take some from LaDonna, but also from some reports that I've been reading. Disinfect your sink. The sink is a breeding ground for bacteria, and the second dirtiest thing in your home after kitchen sponges and rags. So wipe your sink down daily. Yeah, it's true. And once a week if you needed more thorough cleaning. Clean your microwave. While you'll probably wipe down most visible surfaces in your kitchen regularly, you may be neglecting the inside of the microwave. One trick, easily removing stains and grime, is to put a half cup of water and a half cup of white vinegar in a microwave-safe bowl. Heat it up on high until the mixture boils. The steam will loosen any food particles caked onto the interior of the microwave and let you quickly wipe away the residue with a sponge or microfiber cloth. Also, clean out your fridge. I'm in the process of doing that as I'm getting ready to move. Sweep your floors on a regular basis. I know LaDonna does this almost daily at her condo and keeps them swept or vacuumed. I've got those robot vacuums that are doing it. Launder your towels. This one was a big one for me. Bath towels should be washed after approximately 3 uses. Did anybody know that? 3 uses and wash the bath towels. Also, clean your toilet. That is pretty obvious. Vital cleaning, eliminating potential dangerous microorganisms like E. coli. Wash your toothbrush holder, not just the toothbrush, but the holder. There's a lot of bacteria that's forming around that, so do that. Wash your sheets. How often should you wash it? Consider we spend a third of our lives in bed. It's important to launder the sheets often, eliminate the skin cells, body oils, all that stuff while doing it. Recommended by experts. They say washing your sheets once a week or one every 2 weeks for those who have allergies. Vacuum your rugs and carpet, and whether they're wall-to-wall or just area rugs, you want to do that on a weekly basis. And then dust the furniture. I would dust first before you vacuum, right? That's the right order. Dust is made up of hair, dead skin cells, and pollen, and dirt, and particles, and dust mites, and all that stuff. So you want to do that on a regular basis, on maybe at least a week, which I've watched and seen and have helped LaDonna do hers. So some of the things of how to revolutionize 10 must-do things to do. We go back over to our questions. Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection. And I don't know that you know this, Brad, did any of you or our listeners read about the social media report about putting aluminum foil on your front door knob to stop a burglar? Have you heard about that one?
No, tell me more.
Yeah, Andrew read this and he wrote us an email. He says, is this true? He says he just moved into a new home and wonders if this hack works. I don't think it works as well as an alarm system, but supposedly the broken foil on a doorknob lets you know if someone tried to break into your home. So you got to put the foil on, so if they turn it, it somehow breaks. The foil on a doorknob makes it harder for intruders to turn the knob as well. The sound of the crinkling foil will also supposedly alert you that someone is tinkering with your doorknob. Anybody buy that?
Wow, you've got really sensitive ears, and now, Bob, I do know people who actually set up little, we'll call them booby traps, but they're little just strips to see whether or not like a cleaning lady or cleaning person has actually gone into a bathroom. They'll put a little piece of tape or a little string there to see whether or not the door was opened. I have heard of people doing that just to check behind service folks coming into a home. And
our teachers did that to us when we were on school trips to make sure we didn't break our curfew in the hotel room.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, Lee Long, we got you here. Let's go back over to Lee Harris Limestone Tuttle. Sharon is the owner of a condo in Louisville, is planning on moving away for a couple of years for her job. I'm going to skip that one because I think we already did that. Larry is a real estate agent here in town, has a client who has a home on the market. Apparently, Larry says his clients want to reuse and or sell a home to anyone doesn't want to reuse or sell a home represented by a specific real estate broker in town. And he's not sure how to use this, so how to do this. So the client doesn't want Larry as the agent to allow this particular real estate agent or company in their house. Lee, is that even legal at this point?
It's potentially legal, yes. So the first question that Larry needs to ask is, why do you not want the person there? And if the reason is something legitimate, like he had my property listed before, he left the door open, a robber came in because he didn't follow instructions or something like that, or, even worse, we've been in a fist fight or so, if he has a legitimate reason not to have somebody, it is still his home. That would have to be outlined in writing in his listing agreement. And then obviously Larry would have to screen anybody who wanted to see the property to make sure that that particular agent or brokerage wasn't representing the buyer. It would not be valid if the reason is anything that references a fair housing issue. For example, if this broker or agent is in a particular protected class, a religion, a nationality, something like that, that is not going to be okay. That's going to be illegal.
Yeah, I would suggest if that's the case, if it is a protected class, then you may want to walk away from that listing. I know that's tough to do, but that will get you into more trouble than you want to deal with. Back over to Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection. Carol has been living in her house for 10 years. The basement's unfinished, but she had it tested when she first bought the house for radon. Now she's wondering, should it be retested? She said she's read something about it needing to be retested every couple of years. Thoughts on that, Brad?
Yeah, so the EPA does recommend that homes are tested every 2 to 3 years. I think that what we find is that there's some seasonal variations in radon that we all kind of know about. But if you make changes that tightens up your house, let's say you add new doors and windows. Yeah. You finish that basement. You seal up cracks. any of those things may tighten up the home in a way that won't allow the radon to escape. Other thing, if you put in a new HVAC unit, of new fan, new heater, I probably would also test at that point in time, just to make sure that you're still within, under that 4 picocuries per liter reading that you want. So it's not a bad idea. I will also just remind everybody, if you do have a radon mitigation system in your home, make sure you're looking at that gauge. I was in doing a pest control job here a few weeks ago, and I happened to be standing next to the radon fan outside, and it wasn't making a sound. The switch appeared to be on. I went inside and found that the gauge was showing that it was it was level, which meant that the fan indeed was off. So check those. Those fans are good anywhere from 5 to 10 years. They do need to be replaced at times. They do need to be checked, and I think that's another cause for elevated levels of radon, is the mitigation equipment just stops working. So check that too.
Interesting. Okay. A quick reminder, if you're thinking, hey, I need to figure out what the home value of your home is, we've got an easy way to do this. If you go to WeSellLouisville.com, again, jot that down, WeSellLouisville.com. And then at the top of the page, whether you're on a browser or on your phone, there's a link that will take you to, it's simple information. It's your address, it's your email address, phone number, and name. And when you hit submit, almost instantly, the system that we use, the computer, will spit you out, and you'll get an email on this and take you to a page that will give you the value based on what the comparables are, set up by computer. Now, it's not perfect. It's a computer pulling, but it's a start. And we can talk, if you want me to come out, and I can do a little more in-depth review of what your pricing is. But this is a easy, no cost, no obligation. WeSellLouisville.com. Look at the top of the screen. You'll see the link to home values. We are out of time. My thanks to the folks who spent this past half hour with us. We've got Lee Harris, legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job getting your loan closed. All you need to do is pick up a phone and give Lee a call, and she'll set it up from there. If you're going to be buying a home or selling a home, you can reach Lee at 649-7964. And then Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. And they do a great job both coming in as inspection services and also for exterminators. And you can reach Brad anytime with his team, 844-411-TEAM. And by the way, are we saying, is it 8th or 9th year in a row?
Our 9 years.
9 years, okay. I thought it was 8. Yeah.
9 years and we'll call it 4 months so far. So
good. Okay. And the number one home team inspection service in the country. So that's a great honor. 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the near future, I would love to help you free, no cost obligation, no obligation. All you do is give me a call, 376-5483, or go to BobSellsLouisville.com. Coming up on next week's show, make a note, why you should blur your house on Google Maps ASAP, and we'll also explain the process to actually doing it. It's a security issue, folks. We'll talk much more about this coming up next Sunday, why you should blur your house on Google Maps as soon as humanly possible. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.